So this is round 2 of using inks at the bottom, letting it flow. The last video I did, I was able to save it, but that's not what I was going for, as I stated in that video. But anyways, here we go, round 2. Got my prepped cup here, got my epoxy here. Let's do the epoxy method glitter base. Nice thin layer on here, and lots of good old white wedding from France. Since this one over here did not turn out to be the rainbow I was going for, I don't feel guilty doing this in rainbow again. Y'all know I like that anyway. So we're gonna use the same inks as in that video, but way less, like way less. So I'm gonna very carefully, I don't want to tilt this completely horizontal because I don't want them spreading too wide. I want it mostly downward. And I'm not going to do a whole lot on the top. If it goes, it goes. That's not my goal, because that definitely got pretty muddy whenever all those mixed, which I knew that was a thing, but that's okay. Just going to do that all the way around. Decently even. It's not perfect. That's okay. This time I'm using 91%. I've got the pipette from yesterday. Not yesterday. That was days ago. Have our little pipette here. So now we're just going to carefully go around here. I don't want to oversaturate it like I did yesterday. That's where I went wrong yesterday. I keep saying yesterday. It was not yesterday. It was days ago. Even in real time, it was not yesterday. I don't know why I keep saying it. So kind of doing its thing here. For some reason, those aren't moving as much. But I also don't want to be impatient, because that's what went wrong yesterday. I did it again. Oh my gosh. That's what happened. That's what went wrong on the last one. It really wasn't yesterday, y'all. In my head, I guess it is. It's been a busy weekend. Today's 4th of July in real time. So I guess my brain is just not capable of separating my days right now. That's what that looks like. I didn't really get much on the bottom. I wasn't going for anything on the bottom, but I may have to do something to kind of even it out. I don't know why that's not doing anything. Let's play with it just a hair. Just a little bit. That was literally 2 drops. We'll let that kind of settle in for just a second. Let's go do a little something on the sides here, on the other colors. Get it up here so I can kind of spread it over to make it a little more even. Got just a touch right there. This one's doing well. I don't really want to do a whole lot to this one, but I do, since I kind of got that other one a little over the edge. I kind of need to do a little something there. I'm worried about doing too much of this green. It historically takes over every project. Alright, and we'll go starting from this side now, since that's kind of where we just added them all. I did not seal this with any clear coat of any sort before starting. Sometimes I do, but on this one I did not. The indigo is kind of taking over the world today. This makes me want a snow cone so bad. If I do very much more than this, it's going to take over the cup like it did on the last one. But I really want it to make it to about that halfway point. So I'm going to very carefully monitor it and keep adding. Just enough that you notice that I was tilting it to kind of manipulate it a little bit. That's what I'm going to continue doing. All right, we're gonna stop right there on this one. It's right at that halfway point where I wanted it. It's close enough. It's not exactly, but you know what I mean. So for this one, after it dries, I'm gonna seal it and then we'll epoxy. And I've got some rainbow holographic vinyl that I can put right there that I gotta figure out something to put on there. I'm gonna do one more little drop right there. It kind of dips a little too hard right there and a little bit more right there. I went ahead and put some drops holding my cup vertically like this because I had some like really bad dark spots all of a sudden, and so I didn't want it to travel any further up my cup. So I'm just doing this to kind of break those apart. But I don't want to do it so much that it ends up muddling on the bottom. But I kind of like what it's doing. It's almost giving it a more watercolor splotchy vibe. But I'm trying to keep it as upright as possible because even though I was holding it upright like this, some of these drops are still traveling upwards. That was very like weird but cool at the same time. So I'm just kind of breaking apart those bigger chunks of color. That I think is a lost cause right there. But if I overdo it, I end up with like no color. So do it till you're happy with it and then stop. So I'm gonna let this dry pretty decently before I turn it right back up, because I don't want all that excess alcohol collecting on my bottom part there, which is my top. This is where we've ended up. Because I kind of smeared that in one spot, I went ahead and just kind of forced it all the way around so it looks intentional. No big deal, I just got one little stray spot there. No biggie. So normally I kind of stop here on the video, but I wanted to share this that I found today. It's a rub-on, and it's practically perfect. So I'm going to do the Be Happy in one spot, and then kind of the leaves, not exactly like this, but like maybe one there, whatever. But first, before we do that, I'm going to sand it smoother. I've just got a couple of thin layers on here. A random line of glitter. I've just got a couple of thin layers on here, but it's enough that I can sand this now. And there's just a couple of spots you can see. Enough that I don't want it to interfere with what we're doing, but not so bad that it needs another coat instead. So I went ahead and trimmed it apart like that, and I'll end up cutting these so I can place them like I want and make it easier. I'm going to eyeball where I want it. And we're going to use anything pretty much hard as a scraper. If I was doing water slide right here, and if I was to sand it like that, the edges of my water slide would absolutely show. You can see where this didn't exactly print right where it was supposed to, but that's not going to show on here. To make it just a hair easier on myself, because things definitely haven't been going my way lately. Why is that stuck? Okay, see? I'm going to do a little bit of this tape here. Okay, so it's going where it is. I feel like it's a little bit crooked, but we're gonna go with it because that bad boy is already transferring. Let's roll with it. We're just going to rub, just in case there's a couple of spots that aren't as free to jump off the paper. This scraper happens to also be from Dollar Tree. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. I'm gonna go slow just in case I missed a spot, just like that. Kind of hard to tell what you've missed, you know? It's pretty dull. I really hope it brightens up under epoxy. That white stuff that you see every once in a while, that's actually paint, because I use this scraper for everything. It's very stubborn. For what's stuck, being so stuck so easily, the rest of this is kind of stubborn. Okay, there we go. It is a little bit crooked. I'm not going to stress about it though. It is what it is. Before I flip this around, because I've had some stuff stick to my foam because it's kind of on the older side and has some paint and all kinds of stuff on there, I'm going to throw on a piece of parchment paper. And now we are going to figure out where we want all of our stuff. Got it pretty centered. The tip of my Y is here, and the tip of my B is here, so that's pretty balanced. So now we figure out where to put the feathers. I was thinking something like this. I don't even think I'm going to do all three of them, honestly. I think I'm just going to do my two favorites. I think I'm going to do this and this. I'm going to play with it and get them taped, or kind of eyeballed, and then we'll tape it down. Figured out how I want them. So I'm going to do it this way so that the colors kind of sort of flow here. Then these kind of sort of flow here. It's not perfect because there's no yellow, or my orange and my yellow kind of are lost on each other anyways, but that's all right. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm not heartbroken that it's not a perfect rainbow. So this is how we're going to do it. So let's get rubbing. Also on this one, I didn't like the shape. I felt like it was almost like a flaw or a cutoff right there. Almost like it didn't print properly. So I went ahead and trimmed it just to make it a little bit more swoopy. And because I feel like this rub is kind of doing me dirty, I'm gonna go coat it with just some clear Rust-Oleum matte. Whatever I've got sitting outside my door. Just gonna throw a layer on there, let it dry. And then for the next layer of epoxy, I'm gonna go ahead and put some Cosmic in there. If you're not familiar with Cosmic, it's a super fine, oh, I thought I had some right here. It's like a super duper fine additive that just gives your layer of epoxy a good little sparkle, but if you don't do too much, it's a good sparkle. If you do too much, it definitely looks like you put fine glitter in your epoxy. For only costing $1.25 for this transfer, I'm not mad about it, but it would be way prettier if we had vinyl or sticker paper or something like that. I'm pretty happy with this overall. I don't really feel like it's too far off of being even. I don't know, a little. It's not that bad. Rule of thumb, just kidding. So anyways, let's go put some clear spray paint over here. This will also help with any oils that I got on here, kind of covering that up. Okay, here's how it finished. You can kind of see that Cosmic there. It is not perfect, and it needs at least one more coat on there. I've got 2 thin layers, so I can sand it now to get the tiny little lumps, and then one more layer. But overall, I'm pretty happy, especially for $1.25. There's a little spot right there that isn't the same color black that I didn't notice. I saw it when I was doing the rub off, or the rub on. I mean, they're both accurate technically. But I wasn't too worried. I wasn't upset about it. So anyways, that's that. I will be doing the Alzheimer's Cup giveaway again this year. So if you care to donate to that, I'll be doing a drawing from everyone whose name pops up on the roster scroll on there. So if you want to donate, but you don't want your name out there, which that is totally fine, that's all right too. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned a little something. I did. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thanks so much.